Hello and welcome to Sidequest. This is our weekly video game show here at Geekverse. I'm your host, Dylan Musnight, with me the mech of mechas, Taylor Field. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing good. Feel rested, recouped, and ready to talk.
Yeah, this is the Monday of a long weekend, so we've had a little extra time to just chill and maybe play some video games over that time as well. So yeah, it should be a fun episode. We're gonna talk about the Nintendo Direct that happened last week, which is a bit of a snoozer, but we'll bring up the things that woke us up from it, and then we're just gonna talk about some of the games we've been playing. We're gonna stop that music that I forgot to take off.
Caught me off guard for a second.
It's funny. I don't know who it is. Another one of the shows on the network uses music in their thing, and so the volume and the loop feature is always like flipped whenever I come back in here, even though it's like a different thing. So I gotta check that box. But there you go, a little extra side quest theme, a free bonus. Before we get into that stuff, just one shout out here at the beginning is that over the last couple weeks here, rather the second half of July, I participated in another game jam. So we had 2 weeks to make a game from start to finish. So I worked with a team of 4 other people. Worked with my friend Patrick over at the Switchheads podcast. Well, he's not on the podcast anymore, but he was for many years. And it's funny, he and I have been like, he's been making a game kind of at the same cadence that I've been making Potion Problem. And we've talked for years about like doing a game jam together. So it was fun. We finally got to do that. His son worked on the game too. His son's like a really good programmer, which is really cool. And then Molly and Dan, 2 people who I just met for the first time in working on this, and they were kind of the narrative and music people. So it was a really fun project, and we made a game called The Chosen One. The theme of the jam was The Only One, and we went like very literal with that, where it's like a world where all the characters are numbers and letters, like anthropomorphic numbers and letters. And in this world, it's like there's a gladiatorial fights where the letters are like forcing the numbers to fight. And so there's like 2s and 3s and 4s and 5 all the way up, and you're the only one in this whole world. And so you have your kind of unique ability, and then you're kind of also the chosen one going through this story as well. So we kind of hit the theme in multiple ways, but yeah, it's mostly like a kind of gladiatorial arena combat type thing. And then in between that, you kind of walk through the different areas of the outside the actual arena. You can talk to characters, and there's some really funny dialogue in there. Dan did a really good job at writing all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's the game jam game I'm most proud of. I think it's really well polished, really interesting, great music, great visuals and all that stuff. So I'm going to put a link in the description if anyone wants to check it out. I also posted about it in the Discord. People can check it out there. But yeah, it's free. You can play it in your browser. The whole game, I mean, depending on how well you do, it takes like 10-15 minutes to get through. So it's a pretty short experience. So yeah, people should go check that out. It's been a little bit since I've been stretching the game dev muscle. So it's fun to get back in the groove of it. Now I'm inspired. I have another game idea I'm going to start working on here the next couple of weeks. So all very exciting stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to shout that out at the beginning. Once again, a link in the description for that. And then I wanted to share an oddity with you, Taylor. I like to do this whenever I discover like a weird game that I didn't know existed. Did you know that I'm going to share my screen? I'll show you some YouTube clips of this. But did you know that on the N64, there was a South Park game?
I feel like I did know this.
Okay, maybe you saw it at like a Blockbuster back in the day or something.
Yeah, there's a high chance that I did.
But it's a first-person shooter where you're like throwing snowballs, and like I don't even know what's going on in this scene that I'm showing here. I'm just skipping around some playthrough this person has.
Yeah,
it's like literally a first-person shooter where you have these different characters, and at one point you're like shooting snowballs at characters and whatnot. It seems like a very wintry theme, which I guess most of South Park is, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, just crazy, because I feel like the N64 is like one of the smallest video game console libraries of all time. Just like not a lot of games exist on it overall. Mm-hmm. And so it's crazy to me. Like I didn't even know South Park was a thing in like the late 90s. I don't know when South Park started.
It's been going around for a while.
I always thought it was like a mid-early 2000s thing. So I don't know when this game came out exactly, but this was such an oddity to discover that. Yeah, back in the day, there was a freaking South Park first-person shooter on the N64, a console that didn't have a lot of first-person shooters, and like was in that era when first-person shooters were like being invented on consoles. Mm-hmm. So it's crazy that all the way back then there was this South Park game. And the weapon you use in this game looks crazy. I don't know. It looks like a I'm sure it's not a very good game, but it's crazy that it exists.
I would definitely love to try it. That looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I
I
wonder
don't
if it's
know.
four
I
player.
Yeah, because I know in the screenshot it shows like one of the characters. I don't know if you can, or like one of the four characters. So I don't know if you can swap between them, and if there's like a competitive element to it. But yeah, what a weird oddity. It's one like I don't know. I'm on video game stores all the time looking at old games. To be fair, I don't always look at like all the N64 stuff, but yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that game before, and I don't remember it from like a Blockbuster back in the day or anything like that. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, crazy. You don't think you've played it? You just like seen it somewhere
I've
before?
not played it, that I know, but I know I've definitely seen it. It's
Yeah.
just very familiar.
Yeah, well, there you go. Shoutouts to that. It's funny too. I feel like South Park Snow Day, was that what the game was called? That came out like last year. Where like throwing snowballs and stuff and like a 3D. And I remember people were like, "Oh, this is like a 3D South Park game." It's like, oh, all these years ago they actually did this. I know they had the
Mm-hmm.
RPGs, but way back then they had another 3D one. So kind of a weird oddity. But anyway, let's get back to the brass tacks here. Talk about the games that we've been playing. Now, a couple weeks ago, a week or two ago, you hinted to me that you had been playing something you were excited to share on Sidequest. I'm excited to hear. You didn't tell me what game it was either, so I'm curious to hear what it is, and I'm gonna assume it has to do with mechs, but I don't know. What have you been playing?
Yeah, it's called Mechabellum. You ever heard of this?
Mechabellum
Mm-hmm.
from the isn't that like the third John Wick movie?
It sure is. Yeah, it's a new John Wick game just came out where he's in a mech. No, it's a game
Mechabellum.
that
Okay.
my coworker, he mentioned every once in a while. Like, he mentions these really different like books and games and whatnot. And so we got on the topic about just games he's been playing lately, and he mentioned Mechabellum has been taking up all his time. And
Ooh.
he mentioned it, and I got really intrigued just from what he was telling me. And so I YouTubed it. Yeah, you're looking at right now. It's basically, it's very board game esque. You have your side, and the
Oh,
enemy has
interesting.
his side. And so, let's say round one, you put down your units, and then
Hmm.
the enemy does the same, and then you basically hit end turn, the enemy hits end turn, and then you watch as the battle unfolds. You're not telling your troops where to attack, you're not telling them where to move. There are certain things you can do that kind of force them and direct them necessarily,
Right.
but you're not
Right.
controlling their trajectory specifically. So you end the turn and you watch as the battle unfolds, and then if he wins, then you take some loss to your hit points, like Yu-Gi-Oh kind of. If you win, they take loss to their hit points, and then the next turn starts. You get a limited amount of credits per turn, and you get a limited amount of unit purchases per turn as well. So you have to really capitalize. Now, if you make a move, he'll counter, and then you have to counter that move, and you just watch
Right.
every
Right.
turn unfold and see how it basically you have to adapt and react. And it's just ground units, air units, and it's really fun to implement strategies. And so this has been taking up a fair bit of my time lately, just kind of doing some 1v1s. I won a free for all the other day, which is 4v4, and that was
Nice.
so freaking
Yeah,
close.
like so
But
you all just
it's
kind of converge into the center there.
yeah, it's really a very addicting game, and it's not long because you can hop on. You can do a game could be like 10 minutes, and you have that grace period in between where, okay, I've got everything positioned. I can just chill for like a minute, just let everything unfold while the timer counts down. Or you want to pay attention to the battles, but you don't always have to really pay attention to them. But it's recommended you do. But
Hmm.
everything that happens, it's really cool to see how the strategies can be implemented in here. And some people are really freaking good. When you think you've got a strategy that works every time, something will happen and it's just a curveball, and you have to change up the dynamic a little bit. But I love calling in the units. I'm still trying to familiarize myself with different things. But one of the cool features, and I'm not sure if other games have this, is you can save a replay of a match, and then you can
Mm.
go into your library and go to that specific round of your choosing of that match, and you can replay it. And you can't replay from that round onwards and change the outcome, but you can replay that specific round to see if you could do different things to
Oh,
actually
okay.
change the outcome of that round, to see like, oh, maybe this would have worked and I can do that in the future, which is a really cool feature. Yeah. So
I
they're go ahead.
I was gonna ask if you've been playing multiplayer or like against CPUs or
Just
both.
multiplayer, just online
Okay,
multiplayer.
cool.
Yeah.
Is there like a campaign or something like that? I'm guessing there's like at least a tutorial, but
There's tutorial, there's survival, there's a couple other things. I don't think there was a campaign from what I saw, but
okay.
I just dove right into the online multiplayer. I wanted to have people really test my metal, and it's been brutal. I have a lot more losses than wins, but I really love the idea of just being able to counter and really fudge around. You can upgrade units, and then your units as well. You can buy when you upgrade, they do more damage and they get more health. But then you can actually buy specific upgrades. Like, okay, my rockets are going to be doing like incendiary damage, or they're going to be doing something else, or you can get big super units on the battlefield which have
Nice.
like crazy abilities as well. And then you have like 2 tech towers, and in between each round, you'll get an option to select one of like 4 power-ups where you could get like a nuke, or you could drop in immediately like 2 units that are at a higher rank or something like that. And as you're progressing each round, you have to unlock new units too, which cost credits.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just you got to be really really careful with how you use your money to capitalize every single turn. Otherwise, you're going to get screwed over hard. But it's so much fun.
This looks really cool. I'm glad you put this on my radar, and I already put it on my wish list. This is definitely a game I'll pick up at some point because when I first saw it, the first couple clips there, like it looked very StarCraft, like in terms of the art style, but also like the battles at first. But then obviously seeing more of it, and you kind of describing the turn-based nature of it, so I feel like it almost like scratches that StarCraft itch. But obviously StarCraft is such a like high skill cap game, and it's like if you haven't played StarCraft in a year or two and you come back to it, it's like, oh fuck, I don't know how to play this game anymore. Whereas this, because it's slower paced and more like strategic rather than tech skill, I feel like it could kind of hit some of those same things. And yeah, like the art style is very StarCraft 2 as well, which I really like. So yeah, this game looks super cool and really unique. I know that's been like kind of an emerging genre. Maybe I guess it's probably been a few years now of like the auto battler type things where you're kind of picking your new units, buying your units, and then sending them out, but you don't actually like control the combat itself. Which I haven't really like tried a lot of those games, but I know they're like pretty popular, like Team Fight Tactics, and then there's like a Dota one too, right? So one question I have, like based off what I'm seeing here, it's like it looks very symmetrical, like your units, like all these guys are kind of on opposite sides, and like
Mm-hmm.
your big guys, like maybe there's one on the left side, one on the right side. Like, are you picking where individual units go, or are you like just buying units and then the game like auto places them on the battlefield for you?
So basically, you get your 2 towers, and then right in between them is your spawn point. So when you buy your units, it'll drop your units right there, and then you have a grid on your side. And that grid, you can basically place your guys anywhere. You can't move them. That's the thing. When you place a squad down, they're there for good. You
Oh,
cannot
okay.
move them. Now, there are certain things that you get redeployments where you can move them around. I think only specific units have those, and it's like it's not a lot. So you are very much like landlocked into where you put your characters. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why you got to really make sure from the start you're playing a very strategic
Yeah.
style or technique. And when you get a unit, you're not just getting well, some units are just one, but then some of the other things that you buy is like a squad of guys. So you could
Right.
buy
Right.
this unit, and it could be like 4 tanks, 4 missile launchers, whatever. Or this is like one giant mech sniper, one giant anti-air like truck or something like that. So there's different groupings, but it's a grid style, so you can choose where you want to place things. And that being said, where you have your side and the enemy side, they give you the ability to have 2 spots on the left and right of the enemy base. So if you want,
Mm.
if you're fighting and you're going head on and you just want to throw a curveball, well, I'm just going to pump like a whole little mini army on the flank. And then you
Okay.
see, okay, this guy's going to put a huge army of troops there and try and counter that. And then you're like fortifying the other side of the map here. So you can really just, it's not always head on and direct. You can definitely
Yeah.
change the dynamic a little bit.
So and then what? How was the like? What was the win condition for a single match? Like you have to win. I guess you just have to knock down their hit points. So if you have like an overwhelming victory, would you deal more, or is it always like, oh, I won this battle, so I get 1 point, and then you like go
So
to a like 3 or whatever?
all the units that are on the field count for different points basically. So if
Like they do a different amount of damage to face versus like dealing damage to units, I
well,
guess.
if he, let's say you wipe out all my enemies or all my guys, and you have like a squadron of small basic units and then one big heavy titan, and you have 4,000 points each for your life. Now the small guys will deal like multiple like 20s of damage. Now again, this
Right.
is
Okay.
if you've this is after the battle has ended, all my guys are defeated. So all the guys that you have left, that's what counts as damage directly to my life points. So your
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
guys would be
Okay.
like 20 each, and then your big titan would be like 400 points. Boom, that just knocks a big chunk. So you kind of want to keep the titans alive to the end of the turn, because then you're dealing more damage. Yeah, it's a very different type of way of dealing damage in a like a strategy game like this. Unless there are other games
Mhm.
that do it like that, I've never experienced it. So in the first match that I played, I did not understand what was going on, and just damage was just rolling in because I kept losing the rounds.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, this looks cool. Is there different factions, or like how do you differentiate like your armies between players?
all the units are the same. Every faction has the same units. The different
Okay.
factions, now when you load into a game, you'll get like a choice between 3 or 4 different leaders, and those leaders, they're always so randomized and different. Each leader you get to randomly pick will have different abilities. Like, okay, this one gives you a nuke on round 2. This one give you 50 extra supplies every turn. This one will give you like 2 extra units on turn 5 or something like that. So, or this
Yeah.
one has overall more life points for each unit. So there's so many different things, and it really depends what you're feeling at the time when you want to get into it. So
Yeah, that's cool. Is this like I don't know how much time does like one battle take usually? Like if you're just doing like a 1v1, is it like a 20-minute affair?
I feel like it's like 10 minutes. It's not
Okay,
that
pretty quick.
long. It's pretty quick. And like if the rounds are usually about a minute, and then you can just, if you know you're going to be losing or you just want to accelerate it, there's a speed up option to kind of like go
Uh-huh.
through it a little bit quicker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I know you're obviously a big RTS guy, but I feel like you're not really playing a lot of RTS these days. Does it feel like it's scratching that itch, or is that just more like me seeing the trailer and thinking it looks like StarCraft?
It's scratching the itch for sure, because that's one of the biggest reasons why I want to get into it. Just from what my coworker was telling me. On top of that, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of turn-based strategy games. So when
Right.
this is just, it creates a very nice blend of the two, where it's
Okay.
fast-paced and yes, it is turn-based, but I still feel like it's I don't I don't know how to explain it. It's just got a, yeah, RTS kind of style to it with turns in the mix. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's great.
Are you a big mech guy, generally speaking?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Which I feel like a lot of RTS games incorporate lots of mechs. Halo Wars has lots of mechs in it. There's another one called Supreme Commander 2, which I played the daylights out of back in the day, and that one has a lot of mechs in it as well, and like super units and whatnot. What other ones have mechs in them? I guess StarCraft has mechs of sorts in there.
I guess it does, yeah.
But something like Titanfall, I never got into Titanfall, even though I think I have a copy of Titanfall in my house, but I've not actually jumped on that.
Yeah, that's one I want to. That's like a big backlog one for me. I got to check it out at some point.
Mm-hmm. I think they just added mechs into what is it called? Oh my gosh, it comes out this month, and I think we're all going to be getting it and playing it. Helldivers, jeez, Helldivers.
Oh,
They have mechs in
Helldivers.
there, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure, don't they?
I would imagine so. Yeah, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if you can ride in them, but you can at least like call them down to like do
Mm-hmm.
airstrikes and like I don't know, take out some enemies, or maybe you battle because I know you there's like one of the factions you fight are like robots, I think, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I could see there being like some bigger mech types in there.
And you're getting it, right? You're gonna hop on with all of
I
us,
kind of
and
forgot about when is that coming out again on Xbox?
I thought it was the 24th. I thought, but I could be wrong.
Let me try and find out here. I'm curious.
I want to say it's at least the 20s.
Yeah, 26th apparently.
26. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean I can already get it on PlayStation now, and it has full crossplay. It looks like, but yeah, no, I'm definitely down. Because I was saying to I think Travis last week that like August is a bit of like a empty period for me. There's not really anything coming out that I'm picking up, and then like October is when things get busy. So I feel like end of August, cruise through like September with Helldivers could be a good time. And
Yeah.
get probably distracted, and then maybe come back in the winter when I have more time again.
Yeah.
So that sounds good. So yeah, definitely excited to get into some Helldivers action.
Uh, One more game that I have not played yet, but it was funny because the Toys R Us here is closing down, and so me and Madison went in there checking out the
Sad.
sales. It is sad. They had some good deals in there and whatnot, but I saw they had a clearance shelf on top of them doing the blowout closing down clearance, and it was 30% off on the shelf, and then they had this game marked down already super low. The game was marked down to $11, and then
Ooh,
30% on top of that. It was Watch Dogs
okay.
Legion, which I never played, and it was always one I was really
Right.
wanting to get around to trying. And I know it's on the Ubisoft Plus, but I
Right.
don't. That's periodic that I have it. I don't
Yeah, you're not
always
on there
have that.
often. Right?
Yeah, so the game came to like $7, $6, something like that. I thought that's totally reasonable, and it's a game that I know I will enjoy playing it because I love that first one. So,
Yeah,
um, I have it now in my library, and that's gonna be something that I
nice.
eventually get to.
Nice. Yeah, give me a heads up whenever you think you're gonna jump into it, because that's been on my radar too. And I'm sure it's pretty cheap now, even if I don't subscribe to Ubisoft, whatever. But yeah, I because I played Watch Dogs 2 the last time I was subscribed to Ubisoft Plus, when we were doing Star Wars or Assassin's Creed earlier this year. I forget which one it was. And I had like a decent time, but I think Legion, like a lot of the mechanics in there
More
seem really
refined.
great, and I still really want to check it out. So yeah, if you are ever jumping in, let me know, and maybe we can make a little side quest episode all about that, because that'd be super fun.
Is it a multiplayer on like online world that we could connect in
I
game
don't think
with?
so. I don't
No.
think so.
Okay. Okay. Sweet.
I mean, it kind of like thematically, I feel like it maybe should, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's single player only.
Mm-hmm. I'm not
Let me
sure.
look on Steam real quick. Mixed reviews,
Of
classic.
course, it's
Online co-op,
Ubisoft.
online co-op. So maybe you can GTA and just like hop in an
Oh,
open world map together,
that'd
or
be cool.
do some
Causing
quests,
car accidents and changing stoplights and stuff.
hacking into buildings. Yeah, that could be super fun.
I'm
Oh yeah,
game.
I'm down. I'm down. I'm sold. Um, any more sacred stones? Remember, I said I'm gonna beg you. I'm gonna
I
ask you
know.
about, not beg you. I'm
Keep
gonna ask you about this
keep
every
begging me.
time.
Keep coming down on me for that. Please do.
No
But
update
no,
though. No
no
more
update. No
chapters.
update. No.
Dang. Okay. Fair enough. I have two games to share, and I'll share them now, and then we can do ad break later. But so first one, actually, funnily enough, this game has some mechs in it too. I picked up a new game that came out earlier this year, a game called Metal Garden. Metal Garden is very under the radar. Like I didn't hear about anything about it when it came out. But I was on the great Backloggd.com from someone I follow on there. I saw a quick review of it and like just read like a paragraph, and I was like, oh hell yeah, this game sounds like my cup of tea. Went checked it out on Steam. It's like $7, so I grabbed it. Metal Garden is, I don't know how to describe this game. It's a first person shooter, but I'd also say kind of like a Edith Finch type game, where it's like a short, very narrative, atmospheric focus thing as well. But obviously, yeah, there is like some combat arenas that you're doing in there as well. The setting of it is it's set within this kind of enormously, impossibly large megastructure. So I almost picture like if you lived on like the inside of like the Death Star or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like look up at the sky, like past the clouds, because there's like nature and everything, but if you look past the clouds, you can just see like this endless metal wall, metal structure that just kind of goes over top of everything. And it's like a crazy setting where like you live in this world, and yeah, as I said, there's like nature and things, and people live in this world, even though like no one's been able to ever get out of this megastructure. It's like a giant prison, but at the same time, like the lore is crazy. Like there's been entire civilizations that have come to rise and then fallen over the hundreds of thousands of years that people have lived in this megastructure. So it's just like this impossible thing where like I guess people don't even have like a conception of what life was like before that, because it's just been so long that whatever this group of people, I don't even know how many people, because it's a pretty small scale game, have been in this. So really cool setting, and the vibes and like the atmosphere of it are like perfect, really encapsulated. The music is really good. At times it's just like kind of really creepy and ominous, and then like gets a little bit more quicker paced for like the combat sequences, but the atmosphere is great. I really like the visuals. It's like I would say like maybe a PS2 sort of style, but maybe a little bit more high res than that. But it's still like pretty low detail. It feels very Xbox 360 in that it's like a lot of grays, a lot of like muted greens, a lot of browns, like very, very earth tones, very dark and crunchy. And like the world is not a happy place. People are not, don't have a high quality of life living in this place. So it's very dire. You don't ever really talk to anyone. Like you're kind of just on your own. And when you start the game, you're kind of down a broken down mech, which I assume is like was your mech, and it's like just not functioning anymore. So now you're just kind of taking whatever gear you can salvage from it, and you're just off on your way on foot. But like you didn't come from like a town or like have any friends or anything like that. You're just kind of this lone creature all on your own. The whole game is really short. Like I beat it in like an hour and a half. I did it in one sitting. There are a couple things. There's almost like Halo skulls that unlock after you beat the game, so you can like put modifiers on it. So I'm sure if you wanted to play it again, there'd be other things, and there's like little secrets I missed along the way. But it's a short game. I definitely recommend it though. Even this $7, hour and a half, so it's kind of, you can put that calculus in if it's worth it for you. But I really enjoyed it. I really loved the story, and I think I've been so into sci-fi the last couple of years that I found this setting really interesting. I don't want to spoil like the story bits that happen in like, even the halfway through, because this game's so short that it's hard to not like spoil anything. I pretty much just said the premise, and I don't really want to say more. I guess like maybe the hook at the start of the game is that like there's this faction that maybe found a way out of the megastructure. So obviously that's a good carrot on the stick of like what your character's trying to do, trying to find out more information about that. So yeah, really cool vibe, really interesting. The writing's really great as well. And then the combat is like, it's bare bones, it's basic. There's like 3 weapons you get throughout the game. There's like 3 enemy types in the whole game. So it's pretty basic, but like it feels good. Like the movement's good. You have a double jump. And then like the weapons are not hit scan. Like I guess there's like bullet time, like travel time. So it's like fun trying to juke and dodge them while trying to get the kills as well. You have like a sniper, so it almost feels like a bit like Halo in that way, just like flying around the screen, jumping and trying to get some flying headshots and stuff like that. So yeah, really really fun. Like the ragdoll physics are great too. When you take out an enemy, they just like fly down the hill. All that kind of stuff. But yeah, Metal Garden's on Steam. I think it's only on Steam, and I think it's like the first game from this developer. So it's something fresh, something different. But yeah, I really really enjoyed this game. I thought it was a really special, unique sort of vibe. So I think you might like it, Taylor. Considering you're a first person shooter guy, I feel like you've never really. I don't know if you've played many like indie first person shooters. I can't really think of any, but this would be a good one to check out if you're interested in it. So yeah, it's a cool game. The other game that I jumped in and checked out because it was recently added to Nintendo Switch Online, and I kind of played it more for the history lesson of it than like actually wanted to get into it, is Mario Paint. They put Mario Paint on the... Yeah. Did you play this game back in the day, or do you back in the day know anything about it?
I know a little bit.
Yeah, back in the day, like on the SNES, this game Mario Paint, because it is exactly what it sounds like. You just like draw pictures, and there isn't really a game to it. There's no campaign or story. Like you just draw on like a pixel grid pretty much. But what I found shocking that I never knew about this game is that on the SNES it came bundled with like a mouse that you'd plug into the controller port, and so obviously you draw with a mouse, which makes sense. That'd be a lot better than using an SNES controller that doesn't even have like a joystick on it, right? But it was so weird to me. That's like, oh yeah, like the Switch 2 and it having mouse functionality was like such a big, I guess it was kind of a selling point of the console. This is like a big new thing, but it's like, man, all the way back in the SNES era, like they had like a mouse attachment for this console. This is like not a new thing for Nintendo. And even on the N64, at least in Japan, I don't think it ever released in North America, but they did another Mario Paint game for the N64. And I'm guessing that came also with like I don't know, maybe they didn't because the N64 actually had like a joystick that you could use, but I don't know, maybe that also came with a mouse. But it's just interesting that there's like this random little period there in the 90s where Nintendo was like using mouse tech for like one game, and
They're
then just
doing
like
everything.
Yeah, I guess that is true. That was the era of like peripherals out the ass, like all the way up to the Wii era, just peripherals everywhere for like all sorts of things. And then they just kind of put it on ice for many years, and now with the Switch 2, it's like a built-in functionality. But I found that especially strange. It's like in that initial reveal trailer of the Switch 2, they show off the mouse functionality, and we got the Direct. Obviously, they explained it a little bit more. But then it's like there's no games that use this feature, right? Like no indie games or third-party games use it. I think the only thing that did at launch was Welcome Tour, like that. It should have been the pack in, but it was like that janky little thing that had like a couple mini games in there that you'd use the mouse functionality. And now this, like they put the mouse functionality into this version of the game, obviously, because you can't actually use this game with a controller. Like you need a mouse to use it. And it says that when you go on the collection, it says mouse functionality required, which I find so interesting. And then nothing else, I don't think. Like maybe I think Donkey Kong Bonanza has like the almost like how like the a Mario 64, how you can like pull on Mario's face in different ways. It's almost like that in Donkey Kong, but you like paint and can like draw on this little sculpture. I think there's mouse functionality for that you can use. I didn't even try that in all my time in Bonanza because I don't really care about that. But like that, maybe that has mouse functionality. And then that wheelchair game that they announced is coming out soon. So finally, like another game that's really using the mouse functionality. But it's just so weird to me that they'd launch a console and like there's this feature on it, but you can't really use it for anything other than like I guess going around the menu. But it's like there's not much going on like the main screen of the Switch, so I don't feel like you don't need like a mouse to fandangle around it. And so this is really the first time I've tried using the mouse functionality, and like it's fine. It's gets the job done. It's not great. It feels weird to use it on the couch like I was, but it seems weird to me like this was not even though this isn't a new game by any means, I feel like this is something you gotta have available on the catalog like day one of the Switch too. I feel like this is a great way for people to like check out the most functionality in a way. Or I remember after the Switch 2 was announced and people saw the most functionality, I remember hearing podcasts, people theorizing like, oh, a new Mario Paint like pack-in game would be a great simple little tool to get in there for people to figure out how this most functionality works. It doesn't have to be much, just a simple little like, editor, make some funny pictures, share them on the internet, get some good social media clicks, like all good marketing stuff. But they didn't do that. But then they put Mario Paint on here like a month later. So it's a really weird, but I just found it like a fun history lesson that like, it was interesting that they made a mouse all these years ago and like finally they're coming back to it. But
Full circle.
yeah, like I don't know, like I guess Metroid Prime 4, we know that is going to have, you can use mouse controls to do the first person shooter, but it just seems like so weird. I wonder how much like money of R&D went into like building this mouse functionality to get it to work, and then just like to not really use it, or especially at launch for it to just not really be a feature you can use is super weird to me.
Yeah. I imagine, you highlighting that they could have been the idea that maybe do a new Mario Paint in the future with Switch 2. I don't think that's a written off idea. I feel like you could see something like that come around the corner.
Yeah. I mean, I think it will get more. There will be a lot more third parties that are taking advantage of it too in the future. And maybe you could see like, games that were only ever on PC because they kind of require a mouse. Like for example, Potion Problem, a game I would never consider like port to a console because I only ever built it with like mouse controls in mind. But like now, maybe I'm not going to do it because I think it'd be really expensive. But like, that's like a thing that other developers might look at and see as like an opportunity. But I know one of the big things that Switch 2, like a lot of things that's come out, is that like Nintendo was not good about giving dev kits to many people at all to make games for the console, and that's why it's taken so long to get like a lot of ports and things that might seem like slam dunks, but it's just taken so long. And so I think that's probably a big reason, is like not a lot of the developers making games for the Switch 2 have even had the tech that long to figure out how it can work and get it to program with their game correctly. So I think we'll see more of it over time, but right now it just seems like such a kind of weird miss of a feature. So I'm really curious to see like 2 years from now when we look back on it, like how is this mouse functionality? Is it a thing we use? Is it a thing we're excited for? Is it a thing we care about? Is it a thing the developers care about? Because it didn't even seem to be like some gimmick for some launch title. Like I don't think anyone like bought Welcome to or just be like, ooh, I really want to see how the mouse functionality works. So kind of a weird, I don't know, just decision all around. And then the other thing I found funny about Mario Paint is there are like 2 mini games in there as well, and one of them is essentially like you have a fly swatter and the little flies fly across the screen and use the mouse to track them down and smack them with a swatter, which I think might be a similar thing that's in Welcome Tour actually, funnily enough. But then also I played a WarioWare game recently, and it had that same mini game of like the fly swatter. I never realized that it was a reference because a lot of the WarioWare mini games are like references, like you do a little bit from Mario, a little bit from this game or that game, and so I never realized that the fly swatter thing was like just ripped from Mario Paint, which is kind of a fun, I don't know, fun weird little connection of like Nintendo history. So yeah, I don't know. I spent like 10-15 minutes screwing around with this thing. Interesting to do just to see how the mouse functionality works, but yeah, weird to me that it was not a launch title. But there you go, Mario Paint. I guess this is finally a chance for them to port this game because they don't need to make new hardware for people to play it because it's just built into the console. So weird Nintendo stuff. I love it. Okay, how about with that, we hop to our first ad break. We'll be right back to talk about the Nintendo Direct. We'll be right back. Okay, we are back. So last week there was a much rumored Nintendo Direct. There were a lot of murmurs that this was happening in the month of July. And it's funny that it literally happened on the last day of July. So technically not wrong, but yeah, it was like the longest wait you could possibly ask for. It makes a lot of sense. I feel like that usually Nintendo does a Direct in like June or July, and it made a lot of sense to wait until Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out to do one after that. Now they want to advertise some new stuff. But then I think maybe the surprise for a lot of people was that it was a Nintendo Partner Direct, so meaning no first-party games. The only thing that was really Nintendo in there was Zelda Age of Calamity, wherever that new Hyrule Warriors game is, because that's not actually developed by Nintendo, just published by them. So yeah, it's a Nintendo Partner Direct. It was like 25, 30 minutes long, something like that. Taylor, I know you and I both kind of just skimmed through it because there was not a whole lot of big, exciting things in there, but I guess maybe my question is, because like neither of us I think are super jazzed about this. There are a few games to talk about, but I think maybe my main question for you is like, Was this the right call? Was this the right call to do just like a complete snoozer of a direct, like as the first direct post launch of this new console? Does this matter at all? Like the fact that they just kind of put this thing out there, or should they have like maybe waited a month or two until they had a little bit more sauce to announce like a Metroid release date or other things like that?
I would have loved a little bit more sauce, to be honest. Something heavy hitter because, yes, the console came out, people went crazy. You got Mario Kart, that's great. But there are people
Yeah.
like me that aren't hopping on the Donkey Kong train right away. The game is, it's done great, it's well reviewed, and people are excited about it. But there's still a lot of us that want something else on top of there. I'm happy I can play my Switch One catalog. That's fantastic. I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy that they're adding games to Switch Online, but it would have been nice to get something else. And I'm not saying it has to be first party stuff because you said it's third party presentation direct, which is fine. So give us something, something third party in there that could be really exciting. Would a Fire Emblem be a third party?
No, that they're owned by Nintendo
They're owned
Intelligent
by
Systems.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Gosh, then I mean, there's got to be something that they could just pop in there with. That would be exciting. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
something
I
from
get.
another console, maybe like an
Oh yeah.
Title or something.
Yeah, I get. I mean, I assume that's going to be happening. I think for Xbox, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a similar thing where a lot of the developers haven't had the like dev kits to make the Switch 2 games yet, or like maybe they just have it more recently. So I think it might take a bit of time just because of hearing how Nintendo's really slow to roll those out to people. I think that maybe that's the holdup. Then is like maybe we'll start to see a bunch more of those Xbox games come over when they can determine okay which games can like actually run on the Switch. Two, it's more powerful now, but it's still not super powerful. So I don't know what that actually is. Like I don't know if it will be a lot of games, like in terms of the newer stuff. Obviously, they could go for like some of the back catalog things, but in terms of like things that are actually going to sell, make a lot of money, like I don't know, not like Hellblade 2 certainly won't run on the Switch. Like Avowed wouldn't run on there. I'm trying to think of like other recent Xbox games. Like I just don't think like Pentiment and Grounded are the ones that kind of made sense. Sea of Thieves, and like they've done those ones now. Or I guess wait, Sea of Thieves was just PlayStation, not Switch, actually, right? So maybe Sea of Thieves would be a good one to come over to Switch 2. I'm sure that could run on a Switch 2 at this point in time. I would hope, at least.
I would hope,
Um,
yeah.
But then, yeah, I know that this wasn't in my show notes or anything, but this is another thing too that recently, kind of floating around, that PlayStation had some like job listings for developers interested in like porting games over to Switch and Xbox as well, actually. So it seems like PlayStation, they've done a little bit of it now with like games like Patapon. They had that Horizon Lego game. And obviously they've been doing more PC things, but it seems like that might be the future for PlayStation as well, which makes a lot of sense. We've heard so much turmoil in the industry is because games are so expensive to make. They take so long to make. Why not put them on more consoles? You make a lot more money, and then it's just easier for everything to be sustainable. It takes a little bit more work to port it to other consoles, especially something like a Switch 2, which is less powerful. But I think it's the way to go. So I think we'll probably start seeing that for PlayStation as well. But I think those things are just going to take a bit of time. Like I think it might be a couple years. I'll say at least a year, maybe 2 years before like every one of these Nintendo Directs like has a couple heavy hitter like Xbox or PlayStation games that gets ported over. But even those, like, yes, they would be in a partner showcase like this, but I also think those would probably likely be things that would be in the main Nintendo Directs, because not everything in a big Nintendo Direct is first party. A lot of it is third party stuff as well, like the things that are big or exciting. But I think we'd probably see them in there too. Like if they ever do a Halo thing, that's going to be like, that could be a show closer or ender. Like that's a huge thing to get in there, right? So I think we'll start to see it, but I think it'll just take a bit more time, unfortunately. So yeah, to your points, like I don't know what those games are to some extent. It's like you kind of need to wait for the third parties. But to me, it just seemed like, I don't know. I guess a couple of these things are coming out. Like there was an Out Now Today game. There's a couple things coming out soon. So I guess you want to get those release dates out there. But to me, I don't know. I feel like they maybe should have had a bit more sauce saved there for like what is your first direct afterwards. And of course, a lot of that is like we build up the hype on our own. We don't know. We hear the rumor that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct, but we don't hear the rumor that it's going to be a partner showcase. And so it kind of changes the context of it. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I'm thinking because September is another classic slot where we usually get a Nintendo Direct. There's been a lot of rumor of like, is Metroid Prime delayed? What's going on with that game? Sounds like they don't have a release date to announce yet because they just don't know it because the game's taking a bit longer than they hoped for. But they have still confirmed that like it's happening this year still. So don't worry about that. So I feel like September would be a good time. Reaffirm a lot of their release dates, get a new Pokemon trailer, get a new what else do they have coming out? Age of Calamity, whatever trailer in there. Get the Metroid, get the Kirby Air Riders release date, like some other first party things. Maybe one or two surprises, but maybe even those would be more like 2026 things. But I feel like September makes sense to me as like the next actual big juicy Nintendo Direct that's like 45 minutes long, has a bunch of sauce in there. I think that would make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because I remember even recently was like, I don't think Dragon Drive, like that the wheelchair Switch 2 game, like had a release date until recently, and then they just announced it in the Nintendo Today app, and people are like, that's really weird, especially if there's a rumor of this Nintendo Direct coming up. But that feels like a thing where you break the rules and you just put that trailer in this Direct. Like, I don't know if people would care if like, oh, that's a Nintendo game, you can't put that in a partner showcase. Like, I guess that kind of ruins what these things mean, but anyway, the things I think about when I hear Nintendo get announced, I think about all these other things. But anyway, I gave you a list of games that I was kind of intrigued to talk about. Was there anything outside of that list I provided you that caught your fancy?
No, I mean, I kind of perused over the Hyrule Warriors, but it's I played on the Wii U and I thought that was cool, but I've never really been super engaged with it.
Yeah.
What was the other one? There was one other one that I saw. I mean, Just Dance. I'm always down for some Just Dance.
Sure.
And if I had more time, I would love to commit so much of my time to the Monster Hunter franchise.
Oh yeah.
That's always kind of piqued my interest. And the only times I've actually gotten to play it really is just when Ruben. Oh, he's always on top of getting the latest ones.
Yeah.
So I'm usually whenever I'm with him, we're playing Monster Hunter. But yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like for a lot of people, a lot of the announcements, especially in this Direct, but even just over the Switch over the years, and I think people thought with the Switch 2 being more powerful, maybe be different, but like the Switch 2 is still behind the Xbox and the PlayStation in terms of power. So the games you're getting are still going to be a lot of ports of older games, but now you can get like more things from the PS4, Xbox One era type stuff. And so that's what a lot of this was like, oh, here's this game that's finally coming to the Switch 2 that you've been able to play for the last like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, that kind of thing. And I feel like for a lot of people that can still be exciting, and even for me too for certain games. But I feel like for you don't really use the Switch handheld at all, right? Like this is a home console for you pretty much, right?
I'm not using it.
So I feel like the sell of like, oh, I can play this on the go now is just not really a thing for you, right? So I feel like that probably greatly lessens the amount of third-party games coming over that would be exciting for you, just because like you're not going to use that feature really. That's just not your lifestyle with it. Yeah.
Yes.
So that makes sense. Okay, so jumping over to my list, and it's not the super long list, so we'll just go through it. First one is a game that was also heavily rumored. So many rumors this month is Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, which is coming out in October. So this is pretty much a remaster, I guess, of Plants vs. Zombies, which is like 15 years old now, which is crazy to me that's been that long. But yeah, the game is old enough that it never even had widescreen in the original version. So obviously it's now a widescreen. They pretty much kept all the visuals the exact same, but just like glossed them up, which is great because that original art style is really solid. There's new levels in here. There's like challenge modes, like a what is it called? Like a gauntlet type run where like if you die, you have to start the whole thing over, something like that. So this is coming out to the Switch. For me, I'm going to buy this game again. Yeah, I haven't played it. I actually played it somewhat recently. I put on like just a few levels of it, but I think this is a good way to get back into it. Having it on the go is a big plus for me. Having just it touched up, get some new levels in there is exciting. It also has co-op, which I'm curious to see how that plays in the mix. I wonder if this could be an interesting gauntlet game, if there's like a competitive element to it. We could play against each other. At least me and Kirkland could play it on the stream at some point because we both love this. But did you ever play Plants vs. Zombies back in the day? Because I feel like it should be a Taylor game. But I don't know. But I don't know if you actually played it.
Yeah, when Plants vs. Zombies came out on my phone, my iPod Touch back in the day, I was playing the living daylights out of it. I love that original one so very much. It's such a classic, and I always wanted to get into Garden Warfare because I thought that was such a cool upgrade to the game. Just it was so surreal, and that was, I mean, yeah, of course it's EA, but that was done like same, same thing as Star Wars Battlefront. It was just circulating around that time, and I was so pumped. So this has me really, really stoked, to be honest. The fact that it's going to be on Switch is just, it's fantastic. And I didn't see a price point. Did they put a price point on there?
$30.
They made it's not like it's just a carbon copy of that original one. When I was looking at it, they definitely made some upgrades to it. Obviously,
Mhm.
visually, there's an upgrade, but just some gameplay stuff too. It seems like they've added some new things. So, uh, 30 is steep, I feel like, for it.
Mm.
I'd feel comfortable anywhere below 20.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, when I originally saw it like on the US store is $20. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. Then convert that over $30. Yeah, okay, fine. I guess that makes sense. I'm still gonna pick it up. I think that might be like, I guess we kind of have to remains to be seen what is actually added to this. I talked about the new levels and stuff, but it's funny the trailer that's in the direct doesn't really show or tell you anything other than like obviously the game would be widescreen and look and you can see the visuals of it, but it's only like afterwards. Now that it's announced, there's like a Steam page for it. You can go on the Steam page and there's like all the info about all the stuff that's new, and that's where it confirms the new levels and things. So I don't really know how much that's going to be, but I mean, I remember that original game being like, offering obviously a ton of replayability because it's just fun to play over and over again, but also like bonus levels, challenge missions, all that kind of stuff, different modes and things like that. So I feel like there's a lot to do in this game, generally speaking. So for me, I think it'll be worth it. And yeah, it's funny you mentioned like this obviously was a big game on the phone, like mobile game back in the day. I only ever had it on Steam and played it there. So I guess I could just pick up my phone right now, but I don't know, something about playing on the Switch I think will be nice with the bigger screen.
You can,
So,
and I don't even. It's not even listed as like. I don't think you have to pay for it. It's just like it has the get option, so
but is
you
that
just
because you've
download
bought
it.
it previously?
Well, no, it's not because that has like a download from the cloud option, which I can see Plants
Interesting.
vs
Okay.
Zombies 2 has that, but I'm downloading it right now. I'm gonna play it when I go to bed tonight.
Hell yeah, 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 man! Because when I booted it up recently, because I think I did after me and Kirkland did like the zombie game ranking thing that we did, and I was like, I gotta play some PVZ, and man, that music because I had like completely forgot about it, and I don't think I've heard the music in 15 years. Fuck, dude, that music just
Oh, I can't
got
wait.
me going. I was like, oh, I'm adding this to my Spotify playlist. I forgot how goddamn good this music is. It's so freaking good. So yeah, I love Plants vs Zombies. So for me, this is definitely a pickup, and I love the replanted title. I mean, there are some games that get silly with the names of the remakes, remasters. I like replanted. I think that's fun. I think it works too, like the playfulness of their like even Garden Warfare, being like a kind of a light pun on Modern Warfare. Like they're just good with their titles, good with their words. I feel like with the Plants vs Zombies
Hmm.
series.
Hmm.
But yeah, I never played those games either. I think because was there PVZ 2
Yes,
or was it
there's 2 and there's a 3. It looks like.
okay? I think they changed stuff with those. I feel like people always just talk about the original. I don't know if they just
Yes,
maybe they were riddled with ads only on the mobile phone or something
I
like
think
that.
so.
That's probably what it was. But yeah, and I never played Garden Warfare or anything. But man, yeah, for me this is definitely be a pickup. So yeah, looking for. Ooh, this would be before our November stream. So maybe we could do some co-op on the
Oh,
stream. I'll pick up
yeah,
on the
that'd be
Switch. That could be
sweet.
fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what the co-op will be like, but yeah, it'd be fun to try that out.
Hmm.
Hell yeah, Plants vs Zombies is the best. Okay, this game I brought maybe you were surprised that I wanted to bring this one up, but there's this game that was an out now game, so it's out as of a few days ago at this point. Chillin' by the Campfire is a new game for the Switch 2, where you and your homies build a campfire. It's exactly as the game suggests. You can have up to 4-player co-op, and it has the camera integration, so you can see your freaky version of your friends at this campfire. And it's pretty much like a simulator game. Like you put logs in there, you put different fuel, whatever. You build the campfire up, and that's it. Like it's not a big survival game. You just build a campfire and you just chill by it. This game is $20, which is insane to me. Like this should be, I feel like 5 or 10 or whatever, 10 maximum. I feel like for what this game is. Maybe I'm underestimating it, but it doesn't seem like it has much to it other than literally just like a vibes place to hang out, which is crazy to me. But the reason I wanted to bring this up, Taylor, is because one of the game ideas I've had to do over the years was like, what, and no one steal this idea, okay? And they already kind of stole my idea, but I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if there's a game where you were just like, how like there's the Yule log fireplace thing when you have like around Christmas, like
Yep.
on TV, it's like a Yule log thing. I'm like, what if there was a game where you are that guy who's like running that fire? So you got to make sure the fire, you got to like set up the camera equipment. You got to make sure there's always batteries in there, so it never, I'm sure that's not how you should do it in real life. But like you got to set up the camera, get the angle just right. Got to make sure the fire is always like that perfect crispy amount for the viewers. And you
Hmm.
know how like people like when they see that guy's hand when he puts in the Yule log fire to like
Oh
put the
yeah.
next piece on, people get hyped about that. It's like when you have that screensaver and it hits the corner. It's like that same kind of primal like satisfaction dopamine hit. I thought like, man, a Yule log game like simulator, maybe like throw some horror vibes in there too, could be interesting. That's a game I'm gonna make someday, and I feel like these guys kind of they took my fire. They took my idea from me a little bit. Obviously, of course, it's I haven't claimed that idea. Maybe that game already exists. I just don't know. I'm sure someone's made something like that if I've had that idea, which is a pretty simple idea. But this game kind of scratches that itch, I suppose. But anyway, I'm not picking this game up. I just thought it was a weird oddity because it's just such a strange game to get like such a highlight in a Nintendo Direct, in my opinion. I'm just shocked this was in a Direct. I think only because it has. I think it was probably only in this Direct because it has the camera functionality. If it didn't, I don't think this would have been in here because like, who is this game for?
Yeah, it seems very niche. I think that would be a very cool concept if you were to have it. So something is like horror vibes. Something is trying to get closer to you, and you got to keep the fire alive just to kind
For
of keep
sure.
them at bay. And you can see like eyes in the distance, which would be kind of
Yeah.
freaky. But this just seems very silly and zany, which I feel like it would be fun to try. But I also feel like maybe it might wear out pretty fast.
Yeah, there's a podcast I really like. I think it's called GLHF Podcast, and it's two people, and they just every podcast there is a video version, and they're just like in a random game. Like one episode they did like in Habbo Hotel where there's characters are just sitting in like a lawn chair and they're just having a conversation. And the game is just it's happening in the background. It's not really you're not really supposed to watch it, but it's more the idea that like this is a gaming podcast and they're like in a video game world while they do it. I feel like I want to see them pick up this game and like have the freaky cameras and everything. Like that's what I'd be down for. Like that's like the best case scenario for this game existing is for this podcast. I really like to do a weird freaky episode where they're set in this world. So I should message them if they don't know about this game. They should definitely do it.
Yeah,
that'd be so good. Next up, I don't think I have much to say about this game, but it's a game called Hella, coming out 2026. You play as a cute little mouse, and it seems like there's a big adventure. It's kind of like a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids sort of vibe to it, where you're a little mouse, you're running through this backyard or park or field or whatever it is, and there's just simple puzzles. There's exploring. Seems like there's other characters you're interacting with. You got a little Ratatouille vibes, and that's you're kind of walking on 2 feet, I think, rather than 4 feet. All that kind of silly stuff. But I think it visually looks really great. It looks like a very cute game. So yeah, I don't know. Depending on the price, I could see myself picking this one up because I really love that theming. I love games like that, of course, like a Pikmin, like a Grounded, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I thought this game was super cute, hella cute even.
Nice. Yeah, this it looks fun. It has something to it that seems very familiar to me. I thought like this was its first time it was ever announced because I was looking at this. I thought, man, I get a weird sense of deja vu with this.
It looks a little bit Moss, I guess, like that other Mouse series of games.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks really really cute. It had a It Takes Two kind of vibe to it a little bit. Just not being too people.
For sure. I see that going around the backyard as a little guy.
Yeah,
climbing trees and stuff. Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Grounded, hey, the sequel's out now. Hey, isn't that crazy? That we didn't know was a thing until 2 months ago, and now it's playable.
Is this just the
just the early access version?
The early access. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the other term that they called like?
Oh yeah, on Xbox they call it game preview, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full game's out, but it's called a game preview.
Yeah, which I think for the sake like Grounded is a game that was so integral, like part of the community process and a lot of feedback, and that wasn't really me. I just wanted to play the game. I don't want to help them develop it. I don't want to do free labor for them. But yeah, I think this is cool. I'll play it when it goes 1.0. Is kind of the same sentiment I had, but it's weird to me that like the sequel to a game that was my game of the year, whatever it was 3 or 4 years ago, is out, and like I could not care less until it goes 1.0. Like I just have no interest in actually touching the game. So yeah, we'll talk about that one in the future. Last 2 games for me, kind of a 1-2 punch because they kind of bundled them this way in the Direct. This game, and I didn't even write down the full title, so that was a mistake on my part. Adventures of Elliot, right? The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. How could I forget? Is the name of this game. And then Octopath Traveler 0. So the reason these are bundled together is they are both games that are using the 2D HD engine or HD2D, I always forget what they call it, from Square Enix, which of course started with the first Triangle Strategy, or sorry, with the first Octopath Traveler, and then is continued for the sequels, and then Triangle Strategy had that. The Dragon Quest remakes have it. Star Ocean remakes had that. Live Alive remake had that. So it's an engine that started on the Switch One, and it's funny. The reason I wanted to bring this up, and I thought this interesting, was that the first Octopath Traveler came out in 2018. So it came out the year of the Switch launch, Switch One launch, and it was like a pretty big game at the time. And sales wise, I don't know how big it was, but I think like relative to how new the console was, I think it sold pretty well. And obviously, it's like now there's an Octopath Traveler 2 and now 0, and then there was also the phone game. So it's like there's 4 games in that series now over the last I don't know, what is that, 7 or 8 years, something like that. And then all these other games that use that same engine. And so I think to me, like Octopath Traveler 0 makes a lot of sense to put this out now because it's going to come out in a few months. So it's going to be like a launch window game for the Switch 2, which makes sense because that first game was such a big success on the Switch 1 and kicked off like this whole series now and this whole engine, like, which is super popular. I've really enjoyed some of these 2D HD games, and obviously the art style is fantastic. But I think I'm getting a little burnt out on it at this point. I just feel like we get so many games like this, and none of them really, like, they're all kind of just copying the homework without changing anything. So they all end up looking pretty much the same. They have like little differences here or there. So even though I like a lot of the gameplay of it, I think, I don't know, I'm getting a little sick of this 2D HD. I just want like a more variation on it, or maybe just like it to be used more sparsely. I feel like I'm already kind of sick of it, even though it's like still kind of new. I don't know. When you look at these games, I don't think they're really like Taylor games or anything. But did you have any thoughts about Adventures of Elliot or Octopath Traveler?
My another coworker of mine, he's just raving about Octopath Traveler right now because he's
Cool.
playing it.
The first one is he playing?
He skipped the first one and went right to the second one.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I don't know if I'll get around to Octopath Traveler, but I am thoroughly interested in this one, I'd say, in a weird way, because just it's purely the 2D stacked with the HD that has really, really enticed me. Because I mean, Octopath Traveler, that's something that has that kind of.
Yeah,
Is
that
that
was
right?
that was the first game to kick off this engine and this art style. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, because I did not know that was really a thing. Again, I don't know
right.
really anything about Octopath Traveler, but seeing it in here, like, it's just, this looks really, really cool. I don't know. It's just it's very soothing to my eyes to see him like hopping around these rock stones, lava stones with lava around, and it's like his character is that 8-bit, whatever you want to call it. It just looks
Yeah.
very, very pleasing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I'm probably sounding more negative than I need to. Like, it obviously is still a gorgeous engine. I just think that a lot of the games end up looking very similar, even if it is
Yeah.
like a good look, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that's not fair because there's a lot of games that just like look super realistic, and I feel like we don't really like critique games for looking like that. So I don't know. Maybe it's not totally fair, and obviously it's better than like, I don't know, like a lot of the like when Square Enix did like the Final Fantasy pixel remasters recently. It's like, okay, yeah, it's fine, but like I'd prefer them in 2D HD. Like I still kind of want it, but I just want there to be a bit more variation, I suppose. But yeah, I really love maybe I should say love, but I enjoyed the first Octopath. It was a really cool game, really interesting. Never got around to the second one, even though I heard it's like a huge improvement over the first one. Love Triangle Strategy. I think with this one, it's looking a little off to me. So I looked into it, and I guess this game. So as I mentioned, there's the phone game that came out, I think, in between Octopath 1 and 2. So it's a mobile game. It's kind of like a gacha game, collecting characters and things like that. I think I checked it out for like a few minutes, but like I'm just not very mobile phone kind of guy, mobile game kind of guy. But I think that this game, Octopath Traveler 0, is actually like a port of that game. And then they remove some of the gacha elements to make it more of like a console release without like, loot boxes and shit. But because of that, like it doesn't quite have the visual fidelity of like Octopath Traveler 2, for example, or like a Triangle Strategy. So it seems like it's a bit of a lesser version. And even when they're showing like all the characters that you can have, it's like, whoa, because Octopath 1 and 2 both have like 8 playable characters, that's it. But this, because it's a phone game, they're like adding characters all over the place and even have other characters from the other games in the series. I think there's like tons and tons of characters you can play. So I'm curious to see how they convert that over to Switch like console version of it. And the other thing that looked new in there for me was town building, like building out houses and stuff. And like with how gorgeous this engine is, like that's the thing I want to do the most, is just build out these cute little like isometric towns. So I think that's a very enticing thing for me. So this game will definitely go on the wish list. And once maybe on like a nice sale, I'll eventually pick it up. But yeah, I never even finished the first Octopath. I just played it for like, I mean, it's a long game. I think I put like 40 hours into it or something, just like couldn't beat it in that amount of time, and then just kind of moved on to other things. So cool to see that. And as I said, all that context of like that first game being so kind of monumental for the Switch 1, I think it made sense to do this, have something ready to go for the Switch 2, even if it's not quite what I wanted. And then, yeah, Adventures of Elliot, I'm less keen on this one. It just doesn't really look like my cup of tea. I don't really care much for the story. I think maybe the unique thing about this is I think every one of those HD 2D games that I shouted out that have existed have all been turn-based, whether it's triangle strategy and it's grid like Fire Emblem type combat, or everything else is just like classic JRPG turn-based. Pick attack, pick defend, put your potion on, that kind of thing. And this one is real time combat, so I think this is like the first time in this engine that would be seeing that. Maybe Star Ocean does. I'm not sure. I haven't played those ones. So yeah, that's cool. It's unique, but yeah, I think this game, like the story and the characters are all, and the writing was all quite goofy, and I don't know, just didn't look like that interesting or unique to me. But I guess it's cool to get like another new IP with this. I just want Triangle Strategy 2 at this point. That's what I'm hoping for. Whenever we see HD2D, that's what I'm hoping pops up on the screen. But yeah, cool. I think these games and that game actually has a demo out now that you can go download and play. I don't think I will check it out, and then it will probably come out next year. Octopath Traveler's coming out, I think in December of this year, so it's coming out later this year. So nice 1-2 punch. I think those are two games that were good things to see in a direct like this, but I think we needed more sauce like that, or even preferably things with a bit more sauce. But I think those were a good, like, as for what the showcase is, I think those are a good, like, kind of 1-2 punch closer for what this thing was.
Yeah.
Any other games or any other thoughts on anything with this direct here?
No, I don't got anything.
Okay, fair enough. Are you what's the next Switch game you're picking up? Like, what's your next time you're gonna like dust off that Switch 2? Are you still playing Mario Kart, or are you just like, is this console just kind of waiting for another big release or two?
Still playing Mario Kart. Yeah, I'm waiting for a time to pop Mario Party on, but
Okay.
other than that, it's just, yeah, it's sitting there. I'm waiting for them to just give me a new Switch game. Give me something.
Yeah,
I saw the Switch prices all officially went up the other day, which is
that's true.
rough. But yeah, just
Hopefully that's just temporary, and once tariff things get sorted out, it goes back down. But we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. I really just want another. Give me another like mainline Mario game, something fun like that.
Okay.
The big thing that'll pull me in is they dropped that original Luigi's Mansion onto the GameCube Online play.
Did they?
Library. No. If they do.
Oh, if they do. I forget. Was that one of the ones they announced?
I don't know. I do not
Okay.
know. But
Yeah.
that'll, oh my God, I'll be there. Holy smokes, I will be there to play that.
And yeah, so for the fall thing, it's Kirby, Metroid, Pokemon. Are you picking up any of those? Planning to?
The only highlight of those would be Pokemon, but I'm not that excited to just go through Lumio City and
Fair.
getting up to Pokemon things in there. It's cool that they're bringing back Mega Evolution with a full steam ahead. I really like Mega Evolution. That was my favorite things about them bringing it in with the Kalos region. But I don't know. Mega Dragonite's cool, but I don't know. There's just not a lot of stuff that's really pulling me in with this go around. I need another, like a mainline Pokemon game, like a sequel to Scarlet and Violet. That's just tip top.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'm on the fence with Metroid. I gotta wait and see more. I'm sure it'll get it like a big showcase. I don't know if it'll get a full direct, but I'm sure in the next direct it'll get a big showcase and kind of base it off that. And then Kirby Air Riders, like, I don't know. I can't imagine myself paying $110 for that. So if it is a full price game like Donkey Kong or Mario Kart, like, not happening. But if it's cheaper, maybe, because I'm just, obviously a big Smash fan. I want to see what Sakurai's been up to. Now that he's not, it's been a long time since he's made a non-Smash game, right? I guess not that long. He did Kid Icarus Uprising, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be cool to see what that game is. And we didn't even really get gameplay, right? We just got like that cinematic cutscene. So I'm curious. My guess right now is that there's no surprise big game for this fall. Like, I think we kind of know everything that's coming out. My hope at this point is that maybe there's like a Fire Emblem remaster or something like that comes out this year. But I don't even know if they'll do that because they have Path of Radiance in the GameCube. Maybe they'll say, that's enough. That's all people need. So I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm done with Donkey Kong now, but I've been playing a little bit of Wind Waker. I think I'll share more about my thoughts on that in a future Sidequest when I've gotten deeper into it. But yeah, I'm still playing a little bit of Switch stuff here and there, but it's definitely still waiting for a couple more bigger hits now that I'm done with Donkey Kong.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, Taylor, this is a super fun episode. I forget what's going on next week, but something's happening on SideQuest as it always does. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you again next time. Bye bye.